Sometimes I wish I wasn't born. Cry tears, bear me to ashes. Oh, I wish they could come true when I need them the most. Indlela ubomi bezithatha ngayo udihlisa bundenyusa awusoze ukhalwe zange nabazali bami bazibone nazinzingo. Sometimes I wish I wasn't born. Burning to ashes. Oh, I wish they could come true when I need them the most. Money, but me money, but me money, but me
Yes, 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 yes. Here we are. We're back again by Coffee and Demand. It's a Tuesday. It's a good day. Second day of the week. Is it the third day of the week? Some count on Sunday and some start on Monday. So whatever day you think this is, okay? We're happy to be alive. We're happy to have taken a breath today. See the beautiful snow outside. See our kids playing outside and our pets. You know, it's another day, so be grateful. You know, close your eyes for a second and just take a deep breath and say, I'm happy to be alive. Because I know I am. Thabisa and friends here on Tuesdays. Every Tuesdays, 11 a.m. I always bring you the hottest guests in the neighborhood, the hottest guests in New Haven, and at times overseas. You know, see, this is what the pandemic has done for us. It has given us this opportunity to meet with people or talk to people all over the world. It's not just the people in our own community right here. And now we have expanded because everything is online now. And so there's no excuse, right? There's no excuse to say I can't have an interview with someone who is in Uganda or someone who is in the UK. We can just, communicate however and whenever we please because of the technologies that we have now. But today, my dear friends, I have two wonderful guests. Again, you are listening to WNHH 103.5 FM. I am here with the best. I'm here with the best and the people that have a lot going for themselves, the doers, the shakers, the creators, the innovators. So today I have my wonderful guests. I have Penryn and Rod Cook, who are two inspired artists that are quite the dynamic duo, talented, inventive, imaginative, and have a unique perspective through their lens. I am honored to have them here today in this beautiful white day. I hope you saw the snow today. I'm loving the snow and my kids have been playing a lot. But it's truly a sight. I hope you can take a walk after this show. You have to listen first, and then you can take a walk after this show. But Penny and Rod here are two wonderful artists who, in their own right, are their own individual artists, our own individual creatives. So Rod has also published a number of photographic books. I'm not sure if there's a name for that, but for books that are filled with photography. But I'm going to call it photographic books, which we will talk about later on the show. And they've traveled extensively as well. with their art and exploring and just learning and just living the life, right? And I also have Zini here, Zini Malik. She is the community engagement and events specialist at IRIS, a nonprofit organization that serves refugees and immigrants in Connecticut. And also in her free space and free time, she studies photography. So that's one thing you guys have in common here. And you're going to have to also correct me if I mispronounce this, but Paya College of Art. She lives with her husband and cat in New Haven. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you both, or three of you. I say both because you, Penny and Rod, you are one to me. Welcome to the show, both.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I am excited to have you guys here today, and thank you for the honor of joining me. And I know and talking to my guests about what's happening, or this is what we are going to be doing today. So first thing is first, Pan and Rod. I'm gonna start with you, and then I'm gonna go back and maybe back and forth with Zini at some point, or we'll just go and speak to her after I have covered a bit of ground with you too. So tell us, who is Pan and Rod? In fact, here's what I want you to do. Penny, tell me about Rod. Tell me about his work in your perspective, because I love that.
To me, Rod's work is inspirational. It's very different from mine. My work is observing the world on kind of a macro level, and his is looking at the world very much from a level of internal and I guess the micro level. So
Right.
whether he is shooting a nude in France, or we're looking at animals in Africa, or he's looking at inanimate objects, or he's looking at mushrooms, he's looking at it at a detail that is very different from the way I see the world. So I find inspiration from the way he photographs.
Nice, beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. So, Rod, tell us about Penny, and maybe a little bit about your work, even in more detail. But tell us about Penny's work in your perspective.
Penny takes in my opinion, the hardest approach to photography, which is she just walks out the door and says she's going to take pictures.
Nice.
And almost inevitably, she comes back with not only good photographs, but often surprising photographs and delightful photographs. And she has a humanity to the way she sees the world that I'm the curmudgeon in the relationship, and she's the optimist, though in private sometimes it gets reversed. But
love it.
In the public sphere, she's the optimist, and I'm much more internal in my photography. She's much more open to the world and has a wonderful ability to see humor, to see irony, and it just comes across in the photographs. And to do it as often as consistently as she does, I think it's quite remarkable. So
amazing.
That's Penny photographically.
Right, that's amazing. And Penny, I mean, I do agree with Rod here, because I went through some of your guys' work, and I want to kick myself from behind. If I could, I would, because the only time really I've learned about your work was when I was at KLG some years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I've also done maybe kids' stories when it was your show Vanishing, which was a beautiful, marvelous show that we are going to talk about a little later on. But that's pretty much all I knew. And see, and now that says a lot about me. So now I gotta do better, because I never took because I was just so in love with the show. I never took the initiative to go in deeply and see your work until recently. And now I've saw your work and I was blown out of my mind. like where you guys come from with your work and how different it is, or at least yeah, well, how different it is from what I saw. It's not just, you know, you guys are not just going to Africa and take pictures of animals and that's the end of the story. You have there's just so much that you guys are doing, Penny, and also you've traveled, you know, in different spaces, and and as Rod says, like you would take pictures. You say you're going outside to take pictures, but then you with what you see, what we think is simple to you, it's not necessarily always the case, right? Tell us a little bit more when you get out there and you point your camera at something that maybe it may seem benign, or some, you know, someone might not think twice about.
When I go outside the door with my camera, I'm looking for the moment in time that somebody else may not see, or it's a moment in time that I see where I may only take be able to take one or two frames before the image disappears.
Right.
And as you can see, I wear rose-colored glasses. I use them for a medical purpose, but in fact, if you look at my art, very often I'm taking, I'm looking at the world in as Rod said, in an optimistic way.
Right.
So whether we happen to live in Bridgeport and there are a lot of downtrodden buildings in Bridgeport, and I may go into an area that looks like it's been decimated, and I will find beauty, whether it's in the objects or it's in the way people have taken their environment and made it into something special. So, and I love children, and I love catching the moments in time when children just do the absurd.
Right. I did notice that. I did notice that with your work, and as well as you traveling. Excuse me for a second. Here we go. I didn't realize I did not plug it, but my charger is here this time, but I did not plug it. See, in my households, we tend to share this computer that I use for my work too. But here we are. I realized that I saw that with your work, and it seemed, when I look at it, it seemed like simplistic lifestyles of people. You know, people with kids playing, or people at a restaurant, or like you mentioned, like in Waterbury, and all these architectural these buildings where you catch them, like whether it's passages, and then you have an eye of it's. For me, there's one of the images I saw. I forgot the name of, if we even had a name for that image, where it seemed like maybe it was in France too, as a building. It looks like a walkway, or an alleyway, and for me, it just made me feel like I'm longing for something. I just couldn't stop staring at it, you know. And of course, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? And art certainly speaks to people differently. And for what, if somebody else looks at a picture and think, oh, that's a picture, but for someone else it may mean something deeper, right? So Rod, I also realized that you know, I've learned that you've worked for 25 years already, doing different work, not necessarily artistic work before. You can correct me if I am wrong, but you've worked for 25 years as a photographer, actually, first, right? But not for your.
I made my living for 25 years working in studios in New York.
Right.
And I primarily did fashion, though I would do whatever. But fashion still probably has an influence on how I photograph, particularly nudes.
Yes.
No influence on the animals, but.
Good one. Good one, though. So in 1996 you started your career with artistic career. 1996.
1996.
I still didn't quite.
When did you start your career?
Oh, when did I start my career?
Yes.
Late 70s.
Right.
So I went to New York in the late 70s, worked for a while as an assistant, and then went out on my own and was a freelance photographer. You know, I had my own studio, and I did it for a long time. And I don't know. When I started approaching 50, I looked at Penny one day and I said, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because I've been doing it for a long time and I do it pretty well. And I do get some satisfaction out of doing a job well. I said, but I don't think any photograph that I've taken in this last 25 years is going to last beyond the month or two that it was seen. There's nothing, I haven't done anything that I thought was artistic, I guess you would use that term. And she, I don't know whether it's to her chagrin or not, but she looked at me and said, well, why don't you just quit? And I never wanted to stop being a photographer. I just wanted to do my own photography. And I took her up on it, and I did. I quit and started working just as a fine art photographer. And I've been doing that for 23 years now. And
wow, amazing.
Penny almost just as long. I mean, I started when I decided to take my one and only course in photography to learn how to print platinum palladium, which is a sort of expensive, intensive 19th century process. And I talked her into going with me and taking a crash black and white course. And
that's nice.
She did, and it was just Katie barred the door from there. She just took right off. And so basically, as artist, I've been a photographer much longer than Penny has. As artist, it's pretty close to the same amount of time. So.
Right. And you guys are truly a dynamic duo, and it seems like you have great support for one another, and you lift each other up, and that's a beautiful thing to watch and see and hear, right? So, Rob, when I was going through your work, I saw some amazing images. And now, even though I would say before, oh, my favorite is Vanishing, which is really, I don't think it's so true now, because that is the only work I have seen really of you guys. But now that I know a little bit more, I've changed my mind. Vanishing is still great, but also I love what I saw. I saw tell us about grab bag. What is that? Those images, that was just amazing. That was mind blowing. Tell us about that.
Well, I generally work in projects, and when we work together, it's in one form or another, it's a project. But there's always these pictures that you either are playing around with and come up with a picture, but there's no place to put it. There's no project to put it with. It's at the very most, it's in a vague category. Okay. So grab bag is just that. It's the photographs that
and encaustic work. I'm in love with the encaustic.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
I've been doing it so long, and I have to give our membership at Kayla Liddell a lot of credit, because there are other artists working in other mediums. It's not just photography, and I get a lot of inspiration from the things they're doing. Right. And I have this boredom factor, that boredom sets in really easily and quickly. And I never want to stop photography, but I always want to figure out some other way to approach it.
New ways.
That's what the encaustic was. I mean, that we
people may not know what encaustic is. But
Yes, please tell us about the encaustic a little bit more. And I know the encaustic from painting.
Yeah, literally. I mean, there are encaustic paintings that actually have been around longer than oil paintings. So it's just painting with wax is what encaustic stands for. It means. Now, I'm not doing that much painting with wax. I mean, I was creating photographs and encasing them in wax, and there would be borders. Some later I started using borders around them, and that was much more dealing with many levels of color and merging one level to the next and that sort of thing. But the photographs, other than the fact that I spend, when I've done them, I've spent a lot of time in the computer making the photographs go with the wax. I mean, there's a a way in my mind, as a way that they should be seen, that make them sort of merge with the wax more. They're not jarring. They're pale, they're pastel, the very things that happen when you look through wax.
And you may not know, some of those images are done on holocore doors or big doors, so they're 6 feet.
Oh, wow. They are so amazing. They are really truly amazing. So I would say that was my thing. When I ran into that, I thought, okay, sorry, Vanishing. I loved the show. I loved the exhibit. I loved connecting myself to that particular exhibition because I'm from South Africa and you did all these animals from South Africa. But now I'm going to have to put that as my second favorite because I really love the acoustic work that you showed, that you did. So now in fact, you are listening to WNHH 103.5 FM here at Thabisa and friends. I've got today Penryn and Rod Cook, artists and photographers, and of course I've got Zini Malik, and I am here to talk to her about Iris. She works at Iris. She's a community and events specialist. Zini, here we are. We've been talking over the past weeks, and I know you've been so busy trying to get your work done well, and you've been doing an amazing job trying to get everybody to participate in a race that's coming up. Can you tell us first a little bit, who are you and how you connected to Iris and what's happening? What's happening, my lady?
Yeah, sure, of course. Thank you so much for having me. And Penny and Rod, it was really interesting to hear that conversation because I'm a newbie photographer. I love just kind of soaking in and hearing from obviously much more experienced photographers than I am. But yeah, Thabisa, I've really been enjoying our like late night Instagram chats about Iris and the event we have coming up. So basically, Iris is a nonprofit here in Connecticut. And we help not only refugees, but we also help other types of immigrants, which are asylum seekers and people who are undocumented. And yeah, so basically we provide services for them so that they can become self-sufficient, hopefully within 6 months, which is not really a lot of time. And the way I was sort of brought to Iris is I'm a first generation Pakistani American. So I know, a little bit about the immigration experience from my parents. So of course I felt the connection there. And living in New Haven, Iris has always kind of been on my radar. It has like a really great reputation here. And I wanted to get involved after like 2016, watching a lot of the Syrian refugee crisis on TV. And then of course, 2017 when Trump got elected and he signed an executive order for the Muslim ban, that kind of really pushed me to like take action and want to get involved. Because also like as a Muslim too, I felt, I just felt so frustrated with all the misinformation that was out there. So I got involved with Iris and we've been providing these services basically, which begin with basic services like housing for refugees, immigrants, making sure that the parents are placed in jobs, the kids are enrolled in school, everyone's getting English lessons, they have access to healthcare, they're getting legal services so that in a year they can apply for a green card and in 5 years they can become citizens. So like all just really, really important things that you need to kind of navigate your new life here and to be able to like kind of stand up on your own feet. So those are just kind of the general services. Within all those services are like subcategories and all sorts of other all sorts of things that as we kind of continue doing this work and we realize people need certain things, we kind of figure out a way to, okay, if mothers can't make it to English class, then they need daycare, then we need to come up with the daycare, and then obviously in the last year has moved to remote. So
how's that going? Because I do know everybody is affected with this pandemic one way or another, and I know at Iris you would have all these classes with the parents learning to speak English, and you have all these wonderful resources to help the families to get into the society and understand the culture while they still remain truly themselves, right? Because when one thing I love about America, it's the richness that it has and the diversity it has of people from different cultures and different religions and all of that. So you guys try to make people I mean, or at least try to help them with resources, including, finding them homes, finding them, making sure that they are sheltered, they are fed, and they find work. They are able to learn, in fact, and are able to find their own work and get into the society. So now, how are you doing all of that through the virtual spaces with the classes and all?
Yeah, exactly. It's been interesting. I think that yeah, we're just basically a lot of the classes, they're completely virtual. So I think there's probably some challenges in making sure people
Right,
are not getting zoomed out and are
right,
actually like, participating and showing up for that.
right,
But we work with we don't only just have a really good staff, we also have so many volunteers. So we have
right,
volunteers who are helping with like after school, tutoring or like art, specific subjects. So yeah, I mean, it's just there's certain things that we can't do online. Like there's certain things like we have a food pantry that we do once a week. So we still have a team of people in our office that are packing those grocery bags and are
right.
in COVID, we've had even more people who are food insecure. So even more people need
Mm,
those groceries. So what
mm,
we're doing now is we're actually like delivering half of them for people who cannot make it to the office.
right,
We'll have a line of people that show up once a week and get like 2 big bags of groceries.
right,
So yeah, and we're doing the best that we can. We work with translators when we need to, help with the communication. But like
right.
all the services, pretty much everything else is remote online.
Right. And so I know this every year you guys do a race to as part of your fundraising and also as part of like a community engagement, where you get people from around Iris and further and pretty much across town really. They come for this event and participate. And I've also been fortunate enough to be part of it pretty much almost every year now. How is it that how are you going to continue doing that this year? Pandemic. How are we going
Yeah.
to do it? How are we going to run together?
I know so the Run for Refugees happens every Super Bowl Sunday. So it's been this is the 15th year. It's been tradition. It's such a great event because it's like last year we had like over 3,000 people come, and it's just so nice to have the whole community come together and just like all our supporters, our clients are there, and it's just you just have everybody in one place, and it's such a good energy. And when I started working at Iris, I was like, are they crazy to do this 5K like literally in the middle of winter, literally in the coldest month? I thought it was crazy, but
Love it.
it sounds nuts. But actually, I think like it's the only race that happens this time of year,
Right.
and I think the whole like cold and all of it is like part of the experience now. Like it makes it really unique.
Look, you warm up quickly, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it ends up being like really not so bad. Like you're
No.
wearing your layers and you're so excited and you're running around and you're actually, I don't even think you feel the cold that much. But yeah, we were
Right.
trying to figure out like, okay, what are we going to do this year? A couple months ago we were thinking, is it possible to do a socially distanced run? What if we just make it smaller and kind of break it up? And then
Mm,
I feel like with this pandemic, anytime we look into the future and we think things are going to get better, they actually
mhm.
end up getting worse. So we
Right.
want to take that chance. So we're like, okay, we're going to do a virtual event, which sounds a little bit vague, but what that really means is you can register anytime now up until February 14th,
Right.
and you can do the 5K just wherever you are. You can grab some friends and your family. I just did a hike over the weekend up East Rock Park in New Haven,
Mm,
and we'll send you this like cool red shirt. You sign up and you just do it wherever you can, and you don't have to run it. You can walk it, you can hike it, you can bike, you could be on your Peloton, you can
mm.
dance if you want. So
Exactly.
it's yeah, you kind of just make it your own and you just kind of have fun with it. And
Right.
it's a really great event that we do to raise awareness about the refugee crisis and who
Right.
Iris is and what we do. And
Right.
yeah, and we after the race, we usually do this really fun after party where we have lots of food and music, and Thabisa performs, and it's like amazing. And so instead of that, we're going to do a live stream, which is on February 7th. So
Mhm.
when you sign up to register, we'll send you a link to the live stream, and then we're having speakers, performers. Thabisa is going to be performing 2 of your
Mhm.
songs, which is awesome. So we kind of just want to have that party feel, try to do as best as we can virtually. So
That's amazing. That's amazing, and I'm very, very honored that I'm part of this. Again, this year, even in these hard and strange times. So like I said, I was gonna go back and forth between you and Penrod, if I must, because I know this is just perfect. When I say Penrod, I don't have to just call each of you. You are Penrod anyway. Officially, you have Penrod Studios, where it's you tell us about what Penrod is, and then after that, I want you to tell us a little bit about your latest work that is exhibiting at Keller Liddell. Tell us about Penrod.
The creation of Penrod, obviously the names are sort of a no-brainer, but there was some books I think in the teens, in the 1920s, 19 teens, called Penrod and Sam.
Mm.
They were written by an author named Booth Tarkington. They're sort of urban Tom Sawyer type books. And when I was younger, I read them both, and I read a lot, all novels. Never read nonfiction. It's too too depressing. But anyway,
Right.
I read them and loved them. And he actually won the Pulitzer Prize for another book much later. But and they just have always stuck in my mind. And then we needed to come up with something, because the Africa work that we do is signed Penrod. It's not
Right.
signed Rod Cook. It's not signed Penrod Cook. It's signed Penrod.
Because it's a collaboration, right, between the two of you.
Well, yeah, and it's actually almost treated as one. We both shoot
Right.
at the same time. In the editing process, once we've gotten through the voluminous number of pictures that each of us has taken, it sort of gets merged together, and we actually edit it based on who got the fraction of a second that was the perfect shot. And
Right.
The Vanishing Work was actually our first collaboration together.
Oh,
So
wow.
it seemed appropriate to come up with, it all worked together, the Penrod.
That's nice. That's lovely. So now tell us, should I say, okay, Penny, rather, excuse me, Penny, about KLG, just a little bit about what your work is right this minute, your current work that you're exhibiting at this point in time. I know you're doing the French cards, and tell us, what is that about? What's that work about at KLG?
Well, I'm actually going to get to Rod to kind of talk about the impetus for French postcards.
Okay.
So you go ahead, because you.
Well, we were actually we were going back to Africa and we still are, hopefully. We were going back to Africa, and the particular safari we wanted to go on actually was going to be 2 years before we could get could actually go. So we both kind of looked at each other and said, that's a long time to wait to produce another body of work. And I've always loved shooting nudes, and I love shooting them in circumstances that are not totally familiar to me. So we decided to, in between, we decided we'd go to France, and Penny would do her thing. And I would shoot nudes. And so it kind of just dawned on me that, well, what is a French postcard? And
right.
It can be one of two things. It can be a place and a moment in time that relates to you are here or I was here kind of thing. Or if you Google French postcards, there are a lot of nudes, semi-nudes, and most of them vintage.
Right.
So we said, well, okay, so we're going to do French postcards, and then whichever image is on the postcard is going to be appropriate the postcard. That's how it came about.
And for Rod, it was very much in his wheelhouse. And you can see on the screen now, we have French postcards. We also went to the Antarctic and did a collaborative project in the Antarctic, and then of course Africa. But the French postcards is very different for me in some aspects, because we spent so much time in the country. And so I really had to learn to take a new eye to landscapes and find elements of landscapes that again showed much of who I am. So currently on the screen are these are more urban shots, but I also did a lot of landscapes, and out of it came 2 groups of work, and they're currently on display at the Kay Liddell Gallery in Haven. And people can come in and see the show. The gallery is open on Friday and Saturdays from 11 to 2, obviously masked, and we only allow 4 to 6 people, I think, in at a time. We also are available to take people on private tours if they want to go just on private tours. Right. And we also have a couple of events planned, virtual events. So we have something called Date Night, and that's planned for February 4th and February 5th and March 18th and March 19th. If you live in New Haven, that's an opportunity to come and view the exhibit within the KLG gallery, and then walk across the street to the new Peruvian restaurant that opened in Westville. Get yourself some food to either eat in or to take out. So that is another way people can see the event. We also have a special Valentine's Day online event, Zoom event, in which we have one of the interns working at the studio has done a little video, and then will be available. It's going to start with people who want to, either picking up in New Haven at Amaru's, the Peruvian restaurant, or making their own special Valentine's cocktail, and then sitting down and having a discussion with us about
your work.
French postcards.
Right, absolutely. I did see where to go in order for couples or a friend who wants to take a friend out. It's very easy to book your spot. Very clear about the times and then the number of people that can go, and all of that. I can see it's done because you really want to be organized and to the T with this COVID times, and make sure that people show up in small numbers. In your case, it'll be 2 people that can go in at a time, or 2 to, like you said, 2 to 6 people. Couples. And by couples also, I just wanted to make sure that when people hear couples, they always think that lovers only. No, it could be you and your buddy. Right, so I'm definitely gonna go. I did see last night where to go, so I'm gonna book myself and my hubby. We need a little bit of a break and then head on to Amaru. Any excuse to be out, just to breathe air that's just not here in this home every day, all day. And of course, any chance to support local businesses and supporting local artists. I don't know if I should be calling you local because you've been everywhere, but for now, I'm gonna call you, local in terms of you need our support. You need us to go see your work, and so we can walk a little bit on your shoes. Thank you for that information, Penny and Rod. So now I'm gonna ping pong back to Zini. I still want to hear more from you, Zini, when it comes to Iris. Like, how do people in the community show up? How should we show up for Iris? How do we make sure that you guys are supported, and that the people that are, let me see. Yeah, so the people that are refugees and are seeking asylum here in the States, how do we support them to make sure that they are webbed into the society and they become part of the society in a decent and dignified manner? How do we support you guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. And there's a lot of ways to get involved. So if you go to our website, which is irisct.org, and you want to volunteer or you want to we have internships as well. Like we rely so much on our community and our volunteers to, we really can't do this work without this community support. So there's just so many ways to get involved depending on what your skill set is or what your interest is. So like I said, if you wanted to tutor children, if you wanted to help us pack grocery bags, if you wanted to help us set up an apartment, if you wanted to help drive clients to appointments, like there's just so many ways. And even if you looked at our website and you didn't see the exact thing that you felt you could contribute, you could always email us and say, hey, this is something that I'm good at, or a way for me to get involved. Like, can we make something happen here?
Right.
I think like education is just so important, just educating yourselves. And we're like so happy to talk to you about like, who our clients are, how to help them, what the refugee crisis is all about. So I think just educating yourselves, and then getting involved with organizations like IRIS. Even if it's not with IRIS, there's so many other organizations throughout Connecticut that help refugees and immigrants. So I think whatever is like local to your community is a great way just to, it's a great first step, is just to reach out and get involved with us.
Right. And so I'm going to play a video for you. Harry is queuing it up right now. And then we're going to play that video just now, that from Iris. But also, what you're saying to me is really important, because where we go. Harry, you want to play that first? You can play that. Okay.
Refugees for Iris, integrated with immigrant service. Thank you all for being here today.
We're here today to celebrate this great American tradition of welcoming refugees.
Wow. Okay, that almost made me tear up a little bit, because now I truly miss being out with people. I truly miss being in that whole mix of people, and running with everybody, and running with children, grandmoms, uncles, dads, everybody. It just feels, you take for granted how what community feels like when you are not under a pandemic stress, right? And then pandemic comes, and you realize, oh man, I really truly appreciate, human contact. I really appreciate you just miss everything. You just miss seeing neighbors, seeing children play. So that really brought me back into that space when I've been around the people running. So with the money that I made from Iris, what happens to it? Do you guys just save it and leave it there? What's happening? Like, if people want to donate and they don't understand where these monies go to, what resources are being, tell us more about that. When people donate.
And just one thing about what you were saying before is like, what's so great about the Run for Refugees is when everyone comes together, just to see like how diverse the community is, because it is really like every age group, so many nationalities, and the fact that all of us are united over this one mission, because we all believe, that like, when I started working at Iris, I was thinking to myself, I really want to help this community, but you don't realize, as my experience being at Iris, how much they're actually helping us, and how much they are the immigrant community is bringing to us, and with their culture and diversifying our community.
Right.
It's really like a two-way relationship.
Absolutely.
So we just as a community gain so much from them. So it's just a beautiful way. The Run for Refugees is such a beautiful day where we get to celebrate that, and we get to have so many different types of people come together, and it's really, really amazing.
Right.
So this is our annual fundraiser. We don't have any other fundraisers that are like on this scale. Like, we do lots of other smaller events throughout the year, which are like more awareness raising, but basically the money that is raised at this event, and when you make a donation, like, it'll go into it'll contribute to our services. So things like helping clients with their rents, because a lot of people have lost their jobs in the past here, helping supply groceries to clients, helping, having more of our clients get jobs, making sure people have all the supplies they need for school. So all of those type of things is what happens when you make a donation to Iris. And if you decide to sign up for the run, your registration, that money will go towards some of that money will go towards help those services. And then if you decide, fundraising is optional, so if you wanted to like start a fundraising page or start a team, get your friends together, that's kind of what I did. It's like made my husband and my friends all get together and say like, hey, here's my team, join my team, let's go on a hike. We did it, and it was so much fun.
And it goes to legal services as well, because being someone who's seeking asylum, there's a lot of legality that's involved in that, and it's costly.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, if you're an asylum seeker and you don't have a lawyer, your chances of getting asylum are so low. So once you do have a lawyer, the chances are you're 5 times more likely to be granted asylum. So those legal services are so important also for families who have been separated. When the Muslim ban happened, we had families that were coming over here thinking that the rest of their family would follow, and then they could not. So we are doing, the legal services are so important to reunite those families, to make sure that everyone has their, everything they to kind of succeed here. It was really cool this past November for the election. We had families who it was their first time voting because they had just become a citizen in the last like 1 or 2 years. And what an election for this to be your first time, I was talking to one client, her name is Gladys, and she's from the Congo, and I said, okay, when you voted, did you do like absentee? And she's like, no, me and my family, we went in person because we wanted that experience. I totally understand that. It was like their first time. It was such a big election, and she wanted to just go with her family in person and just experience it like that.
That's amazing. That's truly, truly amazing. It's a feeling that they will never forget. You are listening to WNHH 103.5 FM here on Thabisa and Friends. Listen, if you come to this show, even if you're not a friend, it's either you're going to start becoming one, we're going to become friends, or to the very least, we'll be friendly towards each other. But now I'm going to go back and ping back to you, Penny and Rod. So we have come to the end of our show pretty much at this moment, and I want you to tell us whatever comes into mind, because this is the time where I let my guests let us know what they want us to know before we end this show. So if you have any thoughts about your work that you want to share with us, and I could see some of your work right at the back there, and I caught that work on your website, and I love it. Anything you want to share with us, Pen and Rod?
Well, I think we're both a little frustrated that we're having this show, and actually we're having it. It's up for 2 months, which is unusual for the gallery. It's also at a time when very few people are going to see it. So we try to do everything we can to get people to see it.
Right.
I actually think we're both a bit of sticklers about the quality of our printing and that sort of thing. And the only way to see that is to see the real thing.
Real thing.
In the size that it's in, and the way it's printed and that sort of thing. So we just hope that people will try to get by on Friday or Saturday, and any time that they want us to show up. In most cases, we can do that, and
they can request
nighttime, daytime, whatever.
And we hope in this difficult time, and Zini, your work is so important. Sorry.
Yes.
That people maybe can use this as a respite to pretend that they're walking through the streets of Paris, or not Paris, but France, and to take a respite from what is a very difficult time for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, WNHH 103.5 FM, you're listening here on Thabisa and Friends. Listen, Pen and Rod have such great eye, and you will be, I will be remiss if I don't go and see this show and really, like you say, Penny, and walk on friends through your eyes. So that's as soon as I'm done with the show, I'm booking my spot, and everyone get on now because the spots are limited. So you want to make sure that you get your spot. And what a nice thing to go and see this beautiful, amazing, marvelous work, and then go have a drink or two and some appetizers at Amaru Perusian restaurant down from the street. And I think it's going to be an experience that we all need actually right now. We need to get out of our homes, breathe a little bit of fresh air, and see things that are different, besides watching TV and being frustrated with all the news and all the bad things that are happening in this world right now. Give yourself a little bit of self-love and a little bit of break and see some art. Okay? So thank you so much, Penny and Rod, for coming to this interview today. And I know you're busy. Zini, let us know, what is it that you want from us? What is it that you need us to hear today before I let you go as well?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and it's great to be here. I think we covered it all. Just sign up for the Run for Refugees, and like I said, you can make it your own, do it however you want. Get your friends or family involved, and then join us for the live stream. We're going to have Thabisa be performing 2 songs, and we're going to be having Sam Watterson, who is if you remember him from Law and Order, he's going to be there speaking, and we're going to be having Yale Gospel Choir doing a song, as well as Afghanistan's first rock band, Kabul Dreams, will be there. So it's going to be really fun. Chris George, our executive director, will be there. We'll have some of our clients speaking as well. So it's going to be really fun. Just party on Super Bowl Sunday, the 7th at noon. So if you sign up and register, you'll get invited to that.
Oh wow, that's excellent, Zini. I mean, obviously, naturally, I'm going to be there, and there will be a little bit of the Q&A as well, to talk about whatever we want to talk about, including the songs that I have offered for you guys that are going to be watching. And I want to urge you again to go out this Friday and Saturday, and check out KLG, check out Pen Rod Studio work, their work together, French postcards, and check out their journey. And you can have them come as well, so that you can ask them questions about what inspired them to do the work that they have done. And then, of course, like I said, go to Amaru and have a little drink or two. And then on the 7th, Super Bowl, okay, you are there with me. I don't know if you want to miss me. I'm gonna bring the house down. Okay, so I do expect to see you in all of these events, and I gotta go now. I love you all, and thank you for coming, Penrod and Zini Malik. It's been a great pleasure for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Harry. Take us out, man. Take us out.